Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of Hops and Hedges, the podcast where we talk about beer, landscaping, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist, and I am so glad you're here. Hops and Hedges is proudly sponsored by ext.tech, and you're going to want to stick around until the end of the show for an exclusive discount code to use for their powerful CRM software and mobile app. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. And there we go. With me today, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, is Albert Butler, CPA, MBA. You are a resident partner at a national accounting firm with 25 years plus with public accounting. Welcome to the show, Albert.
Heather, thank you so much. I will tell you that the intro lays up an opportunity. I like to kind of kick off with like a story because people always say, hey, so you're a CPA with over 25 years. What does it actually even mean? And what's the experiences? Well, I'll tell you that it's layered in experiences that have taken me all over the world. I've had the opportunity to see some of the most challenging situations and come up with solutions for them, while at the same time meeting some of the best people that you can imagine, staying in some of the nicest hotels, eating some of the nicest restaurants, and getting to know a lot of people globally. So I can tell you that my experience, and I hope that your audience can resonate with it, what we're going to talk about, can really help them connect how the money cycle actually works and how accounting is truly the heartbeat of business.
That is huge. For our regular listeners, a lot of us are landscape contractors, landscape professionals, but a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners. We're in 7 different countries, right? And all across the board, all different types of businesses. And one thing we certainly all have in common is the money,
That's it. Yes.
right? So one thing I know that I'm implementing this year is I'm starting I'm going to pick your brain about this too later, is about being intentional, right? So that's my word for this year, is being intentional.
Yes.
And so I'm starting this Show Me the Money Mondays. So it's like, sit down, figure out your numbers, take a look, get a screenshot, right? And actually it's in my schedule to show me the money. Where is
That's
it?
it.
Right?
That's right.
Make it a
Yes.
priority. So for those who don't know you or have heard of you before, can you give us a laydown? So I know that you've got, I always say laydown, but I mean the lowdown.
The lowdown.
The
Yes.
lowdown, not the laydown. I've said that twice now on this show. I think people know what I mean now, but it's the lowdown, not the laydown, of what it is that you do. So you are a CPA, you work with an accounting firm, but what does your day-to-day look like? What does this mean?
It's interesting because I literally take the individual, help them understand where they are from a financial perspective. So you can scale yourself internally first, then layer in how your family interacts with that so you can help scale your family.
Hmm.
Then we come to talking about the type of work you do, the type of businesses you want to have, and your long term goals from that perspective. At the end of the day, I like to tell people that in any situation, taxes are always going to be here. And knowing how you're properly being taxed is always critical to know where the money really is. And I'd say follow the money, you find the answers all the time.
Hmm.
And understanding how that money cycle really flows in, the money that I make is the money that I give. There's a push and pull cycle that's happening on a global basis,
Right.
not just here in the US, not just in Canada, not just in the UK. It's a global relationship for that tries to find equilibrium on a consistent basis with every single transaction.
Hmm.
So I take the individual, they come into my office and we sit down and we have a talk. It's like coming to your doctor, but from a financial perspective.
Right.
I'm the financial doctor. We're going to
Hmm.
break it down. I'll put you on the blackboard. We talk about your family, your goals for your family. We talk about building a budget and how you align that budget. Because if you are not intentional with the way that you're managing your money,
Mm-hmm.
it's unfortunate, but your money will manage you.
I was just going to say that if you don't manage your money will manage you. And for me, my focus too this year, it's managing my days, right?
Yes.
If you're not intentional with what you plan to do, whether or not you achieve it, but if you don't set an intention, well, then you're just going with the flow and your day is going to decide how that day is going to unfold for you, right? And then you're always
Randomization,
reacting.
randomization. And you just
Hmm.
get what the universe gives you as compared to you being proactive and working through a system. And that system is intentional. We're
Right.
baked in the fact of what you're trying to get. It's almost planning out your roadmap for your opportunity that's going to yield your success.
Absolutely. One of my favorite quotes is, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door.
Build a door. That's right.
Right? That's
Right.
Milton Berle, but it makes me think, like, in my mind, I can see myself as like a couch potato sitting on the couch being like, "Oh man, opportunity's not knocking. Like what
Yeah,
the hell?" And I'm just like waiting. Or you could just get up and go open that door or go build a different door, right? But sitting around waiting for it,
it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
yeah. So very
Yeah, I mentor a lot of youth as well too.
oh nice.
I'm a removed football coach for youngsters and as well a
Oh,
wrestling coach for youngsters as well too.
oh wow.
And in that capacity, it's a maturation. I really love wrestling a lot because it teaches you how to keep control of yourself in a very chaotic situation so you can play chess in the
Mm,
process to win a match. Well, that's life. You're
yeah.
playing chess with a board that you didn't build, with rules that you didn't make, with opportunities that are going to constantly come towards you that you have to make decisions about.
Right.
So have not had the chance to sit back and reflect on how to plan out your day,
Hmm.
being able to act on that plan, and then coming back to review that plan on a consistent basis to get feedback. Randomization is going to kick in. And you're going to just get what the universe is going to give you. I call it plan, act, review. It's a real framework that I try to lay out, and I counsel people on being able to plan, act, and review on a consistent basis, and it will yield positive results if you're able to do that.
Wow. It's interesting talking about wrestling because that's another one where having not done any wrestling, I've watched some matches, but I would be very honest, I've never been in the ring because I'm terrified. Somebody who's wrestling, they don't just go in there, don't just stand there waiting for somebody to come at them, right? That's not the game,
No,
right?
not at
You're going out there with a plan, but your opponent is coming at you with a plan. And whatever they do, you're gonna have to roll with it.
that's
And
right.
right? So anyway, very interesting analogy.
That's right.
And working with youth, that's really, really good on you. Mentorship starts early,
It
right?
starts early. It starts early, and it helps cultivate the mind for long-term success. That when you help individuals know who they really are from a current state perspective,
Hmm.
you can plan what I say 10, 20, 30, 40. In some cases, if you're young enough, 50 years into the future, and you start with that plan knowing where you're actually trying to go, and that
Right.
helps you line up what your true why really is. Your true purpose
Yeah.
is set out from that perspective. As you're making decisions throughout life, if they don't line up with that purpose, with that why,
Bye
what
bye.
it does, it gives you the power to say no. The most
Hmm.
powerful word in the human language. No.
Right.
No. People respect you more when you say no than when they do when you say yes. It's very, very true.
That comes up so much in our profession of landscaping that,
Mhm.
on one end, you've got business professionals who sometimes we need to tell a client no, right? A client wants something, it doesn't match their budget. Well, sorry,
Yes.
no, you can't have that. You just can't.
But
We either need to change your budget or we need to change what you want. But right now, the answer is no. And on the other side of that, you have clients who are choosing their contractor. And if the contractor's not a good fit, you say no and you move on to the next one, right? But,
yes.
until you learn how to say no, if you say yes to everything,
You'll never be
ooh,
successful.
no.
You'll never.
So speaking about mentorship, something that you mentioned on your questionnaire is how your parents have actually really helped you early on and also some of the older partners. So on this show, I always like to give a shout out to our mentors, right? They've helped us along the way. We are who we are and we will be who we're becoming because of those mentors in our life. So if you've got some people you'd like to give them a shout out, let's hear about them.
Well, Heather, here's the unfortunate truth and the blessing and rolled into one. Both my parents are no longer here. So I truly stand on their shoulders every single day, making the mark as the patriarch for my family now.
Mm,
And their mentorship as I was coming up in life, and my sisters as well too, was one that I would not want to replace. The good, the bad, the transparency, the love, the joy, the arguments, the fights, all of that rolls into who Albert is today.
hmm,
And I honor them consistently because I want to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to pass on that torch. It's interesting because a lot of times people don't think about the legacy that they're preparing and they're trying to leave for the next generation. And legacy for all of us is something that has to be held on our chests and we're focused on because the last thing you want to have is regrets.
mhm,
And the pain of regret is so, so, so much worse than the pain of intentional action. Because sometimes it's hard to move off. It's hard to take
yeah,
that step. It's hard to make that plan and go act up on it. But when you do, the joy of it, the success of it, leads you to a space of no regret. So my parents, 100%, if I could give them a shout out and they can hear it, thank you, thank you, thank you for being
Mm.
the ones to give me that spanking when I needed it.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me that hug and that love when I needed it. And thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me the example that you gave me throughout my life. And of course, throughout my career, there's been many people that have, I remember the ones who made it hard for me more than the ones I remember who made it easy for me. Those are
Mhm.
the ones that made me sit back and say, if I really want this, I got to roll my sleeves up to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I thank them on a consistent basis as well too, because they were the ones to give me that a review check that you
Mhm.
need on a consistent basis. Would not do it this way, but think through it and make sure you're getting the result that you're trying to get. All of
Right.
these mantras, all of these sayings, quotes, all the frameworks that I have comes from the culmination of all the mentors and leaders and coaches I've had in my past. So I have to thank them consistently every day.
Gratitude is a huge part of mentorship, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Listen, being
Huge.
grateful. I talk to my son about this all the time as well.
Mhm.
Be grateful. You'll be amazed at how much more you'll receive just that's by saying thank you.
And sometimes even when it's hard to say thank you. This is something
Yes.
I've been just thinking about this week, and actually we talked about it briefly before we started recording. So you're in Atlanta, Georgia, and it is what degrees Fahrenheit again?
43 degrees right now.
43 degrees Fahrenheit, which when we looked it up, it was plus 6 degrees Celsius. And right now in London, Ontario, where I am, it's minus 14 Celsius, which is 6.8 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's why you should stay inside.
That's why we are recording this inside. And you've got yourself a coffee. I've got myself red wine to keep me toasty. Usually it's beer,
Yes.
but today it's a little frigid out there. But with this cold temperature, there are a lot of people locally doing a lot of complaining lately.
Mm,
So when
yes.
we're talking about gratitude, sometimes I think there's a lot of power to being grateful and showing gratitude when it's really hard to do so. You know, you really feel like, man, this really sucks. Or today, like, man, I got to scrape off my car and oh, there's so much ice and there's so much snow and I'm snowed in. And instead of focusing on all that crap that you can't change anyway, right? We're just
Right.
complaining about it's not going to make the snow melt faster. I hate to tell you this, right? But where's the gratitude? Like you're snowed in. Maybe you can get to that project that you've been putting off because you can't go to work. So
That's
making the
right.
best of it. So it's something I've been thinking about this week.
But what if we look at it from this perspective as well too? Thank God I have a car. Thank God I have a roof over my head.
Right?
Thank God that I have the heat inside this place to keep me warm. Being thankful from that perspective, as compared to looking at the downside of the negative energy,
Right.
embrace the positive energy on the other side of it, and being grateful for the small things. Thankful that I
Mhm.
even have technology that I can use right now to have this podcast.
Well,
That's
like
right. We're talking and we're so many thousands of miles apart from each other,
yeah.
but we're talking like we're right next door to each other. How
Mhm.
amazing and powerful that is.
Right.
So being grateful and being thankful it really helps charge the soul up in a different way to make you see things completely, completely different.
Energy is huge. So when you're talking about, feeding into that positive energy, there's negative and positive energy in everywhere. Without one, there
Yes.
isn't the other, right? But whichever one you put more focus on, that's what's gonna build and grow. Mm.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, we could do a whole podcast episode just
Just
on
on
energy,
that.
right? Yeah.
That's right.
Big topic. So there's lots of things I want to talk to you about. So I'm just going
Yeah.
to work through my list here. But Albert, you recently became a published author.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I know that lots of people who listen to this podcast, lots of people in my network, myself included, we often say, there's a book in me, or one day I'm going to write a book.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your book and your journey to getting this thing out there?
Awesome. Thank you for giving me that opportunity, Heather. The name of the book is Life, Truth, Love, Loss, Success, and Failure. It
Hmm.
is the culmination of a 17-year journey where I was on a flight. I'm traveling from Houston, Texas at the time over to Singapore. And that's a very long flight,
I
I'll tell you.
betcha.
It's 18 plus hours of travel.
I got you beat.
And yes,
India
right.
was 24 hours. Not
But
it's not a competition. It's not a
not a
competition.
competition, not a
No.
competition. But as I'm traveling over the Pacific Ocean, I doze off for a second, and when I wake up suddenly by the stewardess, and this thought just crossed my mind that what if I was not able to make it home? At the time, I was recently married, and I had a little boy, and my wife. We just welcomed our new baby girl, and with my line of work, I travel a lot. And previously, before having children, no harm, no foul, no big deal. I enjoyed it. But
Mm.
in this particular trip, I really didn't want to leave because my new baby girl was just coming here, was just here. And I thought to myself, what if something was to happen to me and I could never share all the experiences that my parents, my
Mm.
grandparents, aunts, uncles, all those people shared with me, and my children missed out on that opportunity. So on that flight, I made a decision to start writing down every quote, saying, aphorism that either I have heard or that I use or make up that have come across me. And I started writing them down. And when I landed, I had probably about, you know, probably about 10 things written down, but one of them just resonated the most. It was, I can because I will. I will because I can. I don't say can't because I can. I am a champion. I train like a champion. I practice like a champion. I work like a champion. Therefore, I will win like a champion. Nobody can beat me but me. That quote alone has been something that has kept me, motivated me, and moved me in challenging situations to this day.
Mm.
And it's something that I was able to give to my kids. So the book really circles around that experience. It has those quotes inside of it. It has Bible scripture inside as well too. The biggest piece that it has in it is at the end of each chapter, fatherly advice is in there, and then the
Hmm.
final advice is in there. Something to really stick home to give the kids something that they can actually have. So the plus part about it is that as I released the book and talked more about it, so many people have come to me and have thanked me saying that this is the information that, hey, my dad passed away and he didn't get a chance to share this type of stuff with me. Hey, I play the role of mom and dad in my family, and just having this information to share with my children has helped me. Or, hey, I never had a dad at all. And this right here is something that I wish I would have had a dad to tell me, has been very, very impactful. Just the reviews alone on the book have been so moving to me and something that I've appreciated so, so much that I highly recommend the book. If anybody is interested in not having that father, lost your father, can't talk to your dad, for any reason, this book is something that can help feed that gap for you. And I just
Mm.
would love for everybody to take a look and take a listen. It's on Amazon. It's available
Perfect.
on the ebook is out there, paperback, hard copy. The audiobook is available on Audible as well too. So I I'm biased, of course, but I highly
Yeah.
recommend it. And the reviews alone kind of can set up the precedent for what the book brings to you when you get a chance to read it.
That's awesome. We're gonna try and include a link for that book to Amazon.
Awesome.
But talk about legacy, right?
Yes.
Like having that moment where that pivotal moment on an airplane where you're like, I might not get home to my babies.
Yeah.
And what am I going to leave for them? Like that's huge. And you acted on it. You ran with it. You said, that's not good enough. So
That's right.
I want to leave something to them. Not one day, but like ASAP.
So I'll tell you again, as I was writing it, all the quotes and information is a 17-year journey. So my son was getting ready to graduate from high school. And I told my wife, I said, you know what? I really want to make sure I have this published by the time he graduates.
Hmm.
So I put the energy in to try to get it all done before he graduated. He got ready to graduate. For his graduation gift, I gave him like the first drafted copy of a bound book for it before I got it officially published.
Yeah.
And that gift alone, he literally shed a tear when he received it.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Good
Yes.
on you. It's
Thank you.
there's something generally I think so romantic about, having a book made, something physical that will still be around when we're gone. But to
Yes.
leave something that is so meaningful and so impactful, not just for your own kids, but other children out there and other grown-ups too, who,
Yeah.
have that void, like you were saying, and it can really fill that gap. So very, very exciting. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy. So it is now on my list. It's going to happen. Look forward to reading it.
Imma speed it up for you, Heather. Imma send you a copy. Imma send you a
Oh,
copy
yeah.
directly from me, signed by me, you'll get a copy of it.
That would be amazing. I will make sure
Awesome.
to tell all my friends. That's really
Yes.
cool. So many things again. So forgive me if I'm jumping all over the place here. But one thing that you really have driven home on your questionnaire, and you've said this actually a number of times for different questions, is the importance of systems.
Yes.
So I want to kind of shift focus there for a second and talk about systems because it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what profession, what job, what business you're owning operating. If you don't have systems in place, then what you end up scaling, and you said it, is don't scale chaos,
That's it.
right?
That's right.
Figure your shit out. There. See, I told you I might swear, and there, I did. I
Right.
officially swore. So, like, you can't, don't scale chaos. So let's talk about systems. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I have a framework that I use. It's called the five muscles of enterprise. And before I jump into the framework, I want everybody to understand when I say what enterprise really is. Enterprise is self, enterprise is family, enterprise is your organization that you work for, and enterprise is the business that you start. And it all comes back to how you govern self first. So in enterprise, the five muscles, those muscles are number one, leadership, operations, sales, IT infrastructure, and accounting, the heartbeat of it all. You have to understand that you have to have a level of leadership for self. You have to be able to lead with your communication, both verbal and written. You have to have the courage in place that as soon as you say something and you write something down and put it out to the public, everybody's not going to like it. Somebody
Mhm.
will challenge you. And you have to have the leadership to make sure that you can continue and push on. That's number one. Number two, operations. As all of us, we have to operate in a way to drive the success that we want. You have to make sure you can document and follow a set plan, like I mentioned before, to get those results that you want. So that vision, that mission, those goals, those objectives, to fulfill those goals, all of that has to lay into how you want to operate and to strive for your success. Without it, randomization again kicks in. Then sales. In everything that we do, if you have a business or if you work for someone, you're selling your talents. You have to be able to tell people what you can do from them in a very, very short period of time so they can see what type of interest factor for any type of synergy that can be found. You have to be able to tell that. And you have to be able to produce upon that. So you have to make sure that you can continuously give a consistent result for what you're telling the world that you can provide. IT infrastructure. We are in a digital world. You have to make sure that any type of security around your data is solid and your data flow is consistent. You have to have it. And from the smallest scale for the individual to the grandest scale to the largest public company, data, data, data. It is the blood of any organization. And last but not least, the one that holds the biggest part of my heart, accounting. Accounting is truly the balancer. Accounting is the heartbeat of business. It is the key to personal finance success. From the kitchen table to the largest boardroom, if you don't know your accounting, you don't have clarity. And without clarity, you can't make decisions. If you can't make decisions, you wind up letting the others make decisions for you, and that's not going to be to your favor. Or those decisions get made in a way that randomization again kicks in. So accounting is so important. It is the messenger. It tells the past, it tells the present, and it
Mm.
tells the future. You have to have it. Your financial reporting has to be clean and consistent. Taxes have to be documented appropriately. Your ability to handle the treasury function, or in some cases, at the smallest of scale, just the cash flow that you have on how you keep the lights on has to be reliable.
Mhm.
And then the most important, um, financial planning and analysis, the FP&A piece. How do you budget? What is in that budget? What did you get the budgetary numbers from? How do you compare it back to actual? How do you scale it from that to go to the next for the next project? You have to be able to forecast, plan, and have a solid analysis that's consistent. Those five muscles we all have to govern. Those five muscles are needed for every family. Those five muscles are needed for every organization. So
Mm.
the five muscles of enterprise are very, very critical from a framework perspective. And it's one that I actually help individuals on when they come to my office and they sign up. That's something that this is how we move and how we talk. Because if you can have clarity there and build your system for each of those muscles and then have the overall system for how you move, you're aligned. And
Mm.
having proper alignment leads to the legacy that you want to leave. It's all one step leads to the next leads to the next. And if you can plan accordingly in that direction, you will be successful and you won't have any regrets. So that's the system. That's how it all comes together. Those five muscles are we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror and challenge, do we have those in place?
Yeah. That's a pretty impressive framework. I think we can
Oh, thank
all certainly benefit from that. I love how, in your words, how we need to first be able to be a leadership and govern ourselves,
That's
right?
it.
Like how we manage ourselves is going to be how we manage our businesses and how
That's
we manage
exactly
the books and all of that. And I'm not sure exactly how I want to word this. I think for a long time, I had a little bit of a, what do you call it? Maybe a wall up or an assumption that if I can just focus on my business, like everything about my business, I'm going to be successful. Like the business is going to be successful. And there was a few things about my own mental and physical health that I really not just let go to the wayside, but completely ignored, thinking, you know what? This isn't profitable. If I go to the gym, like that's going to cost me money. That's not going to help my business until my fitness and my health became a bit of an issue. It's like, well, damn, if I don't invest in myself first, there is no business, right? So I had a little bit of that wake up call between last year and this year. So
Heather, think about it like this. When you're on the plane and they give you the instructions and they start talking about, hey, if this airplane was to have turbulence and things was to happen, always put your mask on first before you try to help anybody else.
always, always,
If you don't put your mask on first, you'll die. Kill yourself not putting your mask on first. Heather, I encourage everybody who's listening, put your mask on first.
put your mask on first. And I've heard that quote too before, and there's been a huge mind shift for me. So
Mm,
I'm right there with you. And this year, you know what? Time to put some more focus on me. So I'm
that's
right there
right.
with you. In fact, yesterday was my first leg day, and I am not moving from this chair. Yeah, as somebody who has not, I can't say ever been to the gym. I think I was on a treadmill once, like 20 years ago. So yesterday was my first like official leg day, and I came home and napped for 3 hours. So
Right.
God,
Leg day is the day. And I'm gonna challenge you, Heather. Focus more on those on doing leg day than
thank you.
everything else. It burns the most calories. It brings the most fitness. It brings the most mental lineup of the central nervous system. The whole shebang. Doing legs.
I was certainly focused. Let me tell you, you can't think about anything else on leg day
It's
because
it.
you're focused on all the pains
Oh,
and hopefully all the gains. The idea of discipline over motivation.
yes.
Can you talk about that?
Watch this. Discipline lines directly up with the system. Systems run off discipline because they run consistently, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you think, regardless of everything else. That system is going to flow because it's discipline based off the constraints that have been applied to it. And you're going to get a consistent result. So let's take the gym, for example. You just did leg day. What's going to happen tomorrow? Are you going to want to get up to go to the gym again? Because tomorrow is when the pain really is going to kick in. But your system has to tell you, I'm going no matter what. My
Mhm.
discipline is going to tell me I'm going no matter what because I have decided I want to have a consistent result. So that's the leadership piece of it. That's the mind side of it. That's the five muscles kicking in. You're
Mhm.
leading yourself and not letting your body tell you what you're going to do. You telling your body what to do.
Right.
That is the discipline behind any and all thing that we do, and that's the system that's going to be baked in for the result that we really want.
And it's so much more effective than motivation. I'm sure it's
Yes.
not just you and I, but anybody listening. You have days where you're going to go get her, right? You are unstoppable. The world is your oyster and you're just going to go for it. And then there's other days you wake up and you're like, well, damn, yesterday was leg day and I feel like shit today. Like, I don't want to do
Hmm.
anything. But you look down at your checklist, right? Or your intentional plan for the day. There's your discipline. It's like, well, I actually have to do X, Y, and Z today. So it doesn't matter how I feel. Those things got to
Yeah.
get done. So get up and do it.
Get up and do it.
Get up and
It's
do it.
funny too because I wrote in the book a significant chapter about motivation, and the backdrop of that piece is that motivation actually is a double-edged sword because it can move you at times, but on the same token, what if you still didn't move? It can lead to a level of depression. And that's a major mental cog that we have to be very aware of. And that's why systems over motivation is
Mhm.
always way, 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 way better. Because that system again is going to move. The discipline is going to make it move. It's going to be consistent. While motivation comes and goes, it comes and goes. And then sometime when it goes and you still don't go, you can become depressed and it make you sad.
Oh, yeah. Been there. Been there. Yeah, that's a whole other podcast episode as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Yes, it
is.
is. So something else I want to hear about, because I also think this is really in alignment with a lot of specifically landscape professionals, contractors, is that a lot of us are family owned and operated businesses,
Yes.
right? And you've talked on your questionnaire, you mentioned family and generational wealth. and
Mhm.
consulting, right? So
Yes.
we often see like there's a company that, oh, started 25 years ago by my grandfather, and then it was my dad's, and now it's mine. And now I'm planning to hand that down, which is a whole succession plan all on its own. But can you talk about in your kind of experience and in your expertise, what is family and generational wealth and what can we do for this?
So that's very, very layered. And that's why I begin by saying the individual needs to scale themselves first. As a parent, now I have 4 children, and I have to ensure that I'm giving them everything inside of me so they can become independent through their course. And as they're becoming independent from being dependent on my wife and I, they are starting to scale with their own ideas, their own mindset, and their own way of doing things. Once that happens, there are certain synergies that are going to start taking place if you have built them up the right way, if you have shown them the right way, if you were transparent with them the right way. You have from 2 to 12 to raise a child. After 12, everything that happens becomes optional because the kid begins to do something very, very powerful. They begin to lie to you. It happens, it's human nature. They realize that consequences for things that are not being done and they start to lie. And they tell you selectively what they want you to hear. And you have to find out the truth along the way, especially in the space of social media. It's so grander now. Well, after 12, if you put those family values inside of them, if you taught them the right way, if you've guided them the right way, and they're going to make the right decision. They're going to make their mistakes along the way too. And as a parent, you just want to be there to help guide them through those mistakes. Because as they're matriculating through those teenage years of turbulence, extreme turbulence, and trying to become an adult, a lot of things are going to happen to them that your guidance is going to be so critical. And you want them to have the ability to come to you, to come talk to you about those things and not hide those things. So once they become an adult and you have a family business, you would have hoped that they've been a part of that business. You would hope that they would not just be a part of it, but also see the vision for it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the future, and not just talk about yesteryear, what happened in the past, but talk about how the future is going to be for that family business and what it could actually mean.
Mm,
Because as the entrepreneur, any endeavor that you take up on, you always have to have it sounds, some people don't like when I say this, but it's just the hard truth. In every relationship, you have to have an exit plan. Everyone. Because if you don't plan your exit will plan you. Again, just like if you don't plan your money will plan you.
right?
So begin with an exit and knowing how you want to scale, because if you don't, you're going to be in a position where what if your children don't want the business? What if you run into hard times with the business and you are in position to have to sell? What if the best opportunity of all time come to you for somebody to buy the business and you're not prepared to be able to sell it? All these things are conversations that have to be had earlier than later to plan that exit the right way. And as you're planning that exit, you involve the children in that.
Mm,
So they know these are our options as a family. This is not my option as your dad. This is not my option as your mom. These are our options as a family for what we're building as a family, because the family is not the business.
right.
The family is the family. The business is just an asset for the family, just like
Mhm.
a house, just like a car, just like a piece of gold, like a precious work of art. Those are just assets. The business is just an asset. So do never, never, never attach your identity to the business, because the business can come and can go, but family is forever.
I love that. And I know, especially for entrepreneurs, it can get very difficult for us not to identify ourselves as our business. It's a good little reminder. So thank you for that.
So
Um,
welcome.
so before I let you go, I always also like to ask people about books that have moved them or influenced them in some way. And you mentioned the book called Principles by Ray Dalio. Can
Yes.
you talk about that? I'm actually not familiar with this one.
Oh, I highly recommend it, Heather. He worked at a company called Bridgewater, and in his time, he does an amazing way of talking about the money cycle, especially in his book Principles. It lays out how money exchanges from in a capitalistic environment, how my money really is my credit, and my credit is what I'm using to grow from in an equivalent exchange perspective. Like I mentioned before, accounting is universal. And because I have a passion for accounting because I've been doing it for so long, raising economists, he has it from a different perspective. When you read the book, you can see the synergies of how it all connects together for the global financial scale. It's very, very It's a very, very impactful book that's broken up in sections. It's not a hard read either. So I highly recommend that book. If anybody wants to take the time to kick back over a weekend and just give it a read, I say go for it. You'll learn a lot about how the money cycle actually works. There's a very powerful quote, well, not quote, but actual concept is that banks actually make money. People don't make money, banks make money. And when banks
Hmm.
make money, the money that they make is given to you in a loan. That loan money becomes somebody's salary. That salary becomes somebody's grocery that they buy, and that grocery becomes from a farmer's perspective what the farmer actually had to pick and grow and sell to the grocer. So all of that cycle is explained in a way to understand how important every individual is in the money cycle and how history dictates how large hegemons grow and fall when that money cycle is actually hindered.
There's a very interesting concept. I think I'm going to be pondering that one for a while.
Yes.
Interesting. So, lastly, I love that on the questionnaire, I always ask people for a joke. Do you remember what you wrote?
No, actually, I don't now.
So, I always ask people if they have a good joke that they'd like to share. And you said, I'm a CPA. The joke is usually on me when tax season comes.
Guess what, Heather? It's tax season.
I'm so
Here.
sorry.
We're here. We've kicked up our busy season, and we're preparing to get everybody's information ready to go. I encourage everyone, don't do your taxes yourself. Don't do that. Get a professional because when you do them yourself, you will make mistakes. And you see in the US, the tax code is, I wish I had the book sitting on side of me, but the book is yay thick. Okay. The code is so lengthy and so long. I'm a professional. I read it all the time. I come with I've have so much history in it. So get a professional to work with directly. Have your CPA, have your person, have that one that you can lean on to ask those questions of, because your tax return truly is a narrative of numbers. It tells the
Mhm.
story of how you made your money. And you want to make sure you tell the story right. No one should have to pay any more, no one should have to pay any less. You have to pay your fair share. And in that regard, it's always important that we tell the story correctly on how you made your money. And that's what your tax professional will help do for you.
That is a great piece of advice. I am so glad I have a bookkeeper and an accountant,
Yes.
so I do not do that. Thank
Yes.
God. I find someone like you who actually finds joy in it and is good
Oh,
at doing
yeah.
it, right? Find
Yes.
the person who's good at the thing that you don't like to do and get them to do it.
And get them
So,
to do it.
and get
That's
them
it.
to do it.
That's another piece of the 5 muscles as well too. As an entrepreneur, you can't do everything, and don't try. Think
Mm-mm.
about those: leadership, operations, sales, IT infrastructure, and accounting. Which hat are you going to wear? Normally, if you're an entrepreneur, you're wearing the leader hat. Hire other people to do those pieces. Don't try to do them yourself. You'll never scale then if you do them all yourself. Find somebody else who
Absolutely.
knows what they're doing and let them do it.
Yep. It reminds me of another book called Who Not How. Do you know this book?
That one. I haven't.
That is a good one. Who Not
Yes.
How. Do I have it handy here? It's somewhere up here. Who Not How. I don't know the author off the top. Anyway, it's a very good book. Highly recommend it. Albert, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you for the last hour.
Yes.
I wish you all the best with your business, with your
Thank
family. Looking forward to seeing your book
you. Yes.
and enjoy that frigid weather down in Atlanta, Georgia. And I will be staying inside here in
Stay
southwestern
inside.
Ontario.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Heather.
Cheers. I'll see you around.
All righty. Have a good day. Bye, everybody.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Hops and Hedges, hosted by me, Heather Gerard of My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's a quick word from our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, landscaping businesses need modern tools to keep up with constant change, and that's where EXT comes in. EXT is transforming how landscaping, snow removal, and construction companies manage their operations. Using streamlined client management, real-time financial insights, and a modern mobile app your team will actually enjoy using. And with flat-rate pricing, there are no surprises, just clarity and control. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech to learn more. For additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you.